You are listening to the Milan Weekly Podcast, the English voice of Radio Rossonera and Milan fans all over the world.
La formazione del e con la fascia di capitano con il numero 13
Donnarumma at the double, sensational from him.
Rafael Leao produces a moment of utter magic.
Teo Hernandez al volo! Teo Hernandez! Ancora lui! Una meraviglia! Ibrahimovic! Zlatan Ibrahimovic! Fuori classe assoluto!
Good evening, everybody. Yes, hello, everybody. And I know there's missing somebody right now, but guys, if you guys didn't, first of all, good evening, everybody, YouTube world, all these live viewers. For unforeseen circumstances, the way I was talking today with the Patreon members, Steve can't make it tonight, and the show must go on. The show must go on. So here I am. I do have a little surprise there waiting in the back room. Don't worry about it. I think it's going to be entertaining for today. But once everybody's ready, Liban Youssef, Facebook Frank, Erzving, Centurion, whoever. Hello. Who else do we have? Vince Mancini. David, newest members of Patreon, and thank you to everybody that joined today. Almost 9 people at the same time. That was fantastic, and I think we're ready. You know what? Because I don't have that back and forth with Steve. So let's see how today goes, gentlemen. Let's see how today goes, and here we go. Cari amici sportivi, welcome yet to another edition of the Milan Weekly Podcast. Here we talk everything Milan, where the refs helped us to win, Milan, where a 39-year-old still keeps on scoring, Milan, and where we're not professionals. It's so weird. It's so weird. Let me give this another try. And where we're not professionals.
Nor do they pretend to be.
Well, here he is, gentlemen, live from Milan Club, New York, Franco Z, and we only put his initial, guys, because he's Italian. He's from New York. We want to protect his identity. But guys, welcome, Franco. He's here helping me out. A guy that has the same kind of thoughts and mentality as Steve. We were doing Milanismo Worldwide New York yesterday. I'm like, what better guest to come and help me out today? Compare Ciccio, compare Franco. How are you this fine evening, compare Ciccio?
Milan, top of the table, Milan. Every day is Christmas, Milan, according to our Juventini and Interisti friends. So big smile on my face, and thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
I love it. And we're talking about housekeeping stuff. We spoke about Patreon today. We had a nice little chat. We were from, would it be Kuwait? We had somebody we had Mike from Milan. We had California in the house. We had Morocco in the house, and great new members. Fantastic little chat there. And yesterday we were talking to you about Milan Club New York. It's going to drop this Thursday, right? And I think we could have done a 2-part there, Franco. But I know that yesterday we didn't have a chance, or you didn't have a chance, right, to give a special shout out. I know you wanted to give a shout out to the people that help you run the whole organization. I know if you want to take the time to, during the housekeeping segment, special thanks to anybody there in New York.
Yeah, just, all the guys on the executive committee. And, I mentioned a couple of guys by name, and I couldn't remember who I left out. And just special shout to Giuseppe, who helps us on the social media side, especially. And, we talked a little bit about jerseys during the Milanismo Worldwide thing. And, you could see a couple behind me, but if people are watching, if they're listening, there's a couple jerseys behind me. And his jersey collection just puts mine to shame, but he also is probably the biggest Milan fan that I know. So big shout out to him.
So you told me how many jerseys you're at now? 80?
Yeah, a little bit over 80.
80 jerseys.
He's probably about 300 plus. So
Jesus, we'd love to see those pictures. You can find them there. But that's it for housekeeping. But before we get into it, because Facebook Frank asked, did you pull a Royal Rumble with Franco popping up? I know I'd asked Dave from Philly this question, but he doesn't have the wrestling knowledge, and I'm gonna have to take the chance because Steve's not here to yell at me when I talk wrestling. But Franco, because you know wrestling as much as me, we have Milan versus whoever. It could be Inter, it could be in a war games. So who out of the all history, who are your 4 players for Milan to go into a war games? You know what? We're going after Inter because we're battling out. Who are you picking, Franco?
So I got to pick four from the entire history.
Whoever you want. Well, don't bring us anybody from the 1930s, a la Facebook Frank.
Oh, I actually had one in mind. All right. So obviously,
anybody in mind there? I don't know if you had the list prepared. You can think about it. What do you got?
Let's go Gattuso, because you got to go Gattuso.
Obviously.
I'm going to bring Team Frank with me, and I'm going to go Presidente Franchi, Kessi. Sebastiano Rossi, because the guy was just nuts. And if you search hard enough, you could probably find a clip of him like clotheslining somebody in the penalty area, and that actually happened. So like, I'm going to bring him with us, and I am going to go Facebook Frank on us. I'm going to bring Nestor Combin, who was on the 1969 Intercontinental Cup winning team, and he literally got his ass kicked during the game. They literally went after him and beat him up. Like, he comes out of the game with like a huge black eye. Milan wins the cup. And at the time, they actually tried to keep him in Argentina and arrest him after the game for desertion, because he moved to France and left Argentina illegally. So they actually tried to arrest him and keep him there, but they were able to get him back to Italy. But he took a beating during that game, but he made it out, and Milan won the Intercontinental Cup of 1969. So
I love it. And David, Ibra would be managing. Ibra doesn't get his hands dirty, at that age there. So he'd be he's the manager. He's the Bobby Heenan of the team. But
right.
Let's get into today's game. Cagliari hadn't won in the last 10 games, Franco, right? A lot of people, not that it was, maybe 2 years ago, Milan would be stressed out a bit, but we got to talk about it, right? 5 minutes in, penalty comes on. And I know a lot of the guys in the Montreal chat, saying, okay, it was a real penalty, not a real penalty. Then we're going to talk about the refereeing today, because I know it's very controversial. But how about the penalty 5 minutes in, Franco? Were you in agreement with that call there? To me, the way I was looking at the replays, behind the player, pushes him, falls down. Let's go episode by episode. But how about that one there? What are your thoughts about that penalty on Ibra?
People try to argue that it could not have been a penalty, perhaps because Ibra kind of like stuck his leg out and looked for the foul. But if you look at, I believe it was Lykogiannis who fouls him, like goes nowhere near the ball, got totally beat on the play. And if you're in the area, if you're defending, you play the body and you're nowhere near the ball, that's a penalty. That's a penalty.
I totally agree. I totally agree. That's a penalty, and thank you to DAZN, because even David told us that I watched it on Sky Sport with my little magic box, and yet another penalty for Milan. Yet another penalty for me. That was their exact comments. Thank you, David, for sharing that. And I just want to give a shout out to Maxime et de France, Monsieur Franco. À la France, it's probably 3 o'clock in the morning over there. Thank you for watching. Even Anwar, he's a follow Patreon, watching directly from Morocco. You guys are awesome. But what was I saying? See, there was
somebody from Australia in there too. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, Australia. Yes, Kim is always there. Like, I don't know what time it is in Australia, but appreciate it. Yeah. Always appreciate that. But what was I saying? We're talking about the penalty. Ibra steps up, scores, and you saw that, that reaction from him. Yes, and thank you. And from Barbados, Young Kins 357 on Barbados. Siamo internazionale. But DAZN, right? It's enough. It's enough. This bias. Yet another penalty. I don't know what was so controversial about this penalty. And, Ibra does not, we cannot say Ibra goes down, easily on the ground. We can have an argument about Tio. I found sometimes Tio does go down to the ground very easily. But to you, is it really controversial?
No, like I said, you as a defenseman are responsible, and you need to not take those chances. We're going to talk about that later too, when it comes to fouls that Milan took today too. You have to be responsible, and you can't put yourself and your team in a position where that could possibly happen. And if you're playing the first place team in the table, and I'm sorry to say this, I'll admit this much, the bigger teams in Italy do get favored. And that's the problem with the refereeing. Because if you go to the other end of the field, there could have been a penalty against Milan today that wasn't called on a very similar call.
I think the only difference that I see from there, and I'm more for, okay, yeah, it could have been a call for Cali. I don't know why I didn't go to VAR, but it just seems that his leg, the Cali player's leg, was like stuck in between Diaz's legs. But in the end, being from behind the push, in the end, Franco, if you're going to call the one on Ibra, you have to call that one there, right?
It was Diaz on Sotil. I think for me that was a penalty. I don't know. We dodged the bullet on that one.
Let's put it this way, guys. If this would have happened to Milan, would you have not been up in arms if they wouldn't have called that penalty? Let's call a spade, guys, right? I think we definitely agree on that one there. And, we're going to talk about these fouls as well. Guys, Sausage Maker, I'm sorry, guys. Those are 2 yellow cards. They're yellow cards. And I get people, sorry, guys. North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Wow. Marshall, thank you for joining. Veramente siamo internazionali.
I love Myrtle Beach. Great place.
That's the Italian destination back in the early 90s for us. It was always, my father had to drive 20 hours. We got to go to Myrtle Beach. But Salad Maker, I'm sorry. The second yellow, people saying, oh, it's harsh. Guys, they were on a counterattack, right? And you're reaching your arm there. And I just felt that he was full of piss and vinegar, right? Very excited, back on. He wants to give his all. And in the end, this is my opinion, I think it was a yellow card. I can't see it any other way. And sorry, guys, whether it be, favoritism or whatever case may be, guys, you do not get 2 yellow cards in the span of 5 minutes if it wasn't your fault. I don't know, Franco, what do you feel about those yellow cards?
I mean, you can be full of piss and vinegar if you want, but you have to be focused. You just came back, you haven't played, you're excited to be back. You need to be focused, and you can't put your team in that position. The first yellow card was awful. That was a boneheaded move, and that was horrible. You just come on. It was even on a minute when he did that. That was a high foot. That's almost orange, as my father used to say. God rest his soul. He used to say, "Well, that's an orange." It's a yellow, almost orange with the high foot on the first foul. The second foul, yeah, you want to argue that it couldn't have been a yellow, or it may have not have been a yellow, and the ref could have, spared him on that. That's fine, but his arms are literally over the guy. It's not like he's going shoulder to shoulder and he's knocking a guy over. His arms are literally over the guy's shoulder, and he prevents a counterattack, like you said. For me, that's a yellow card. And for Pioli to be chewing him out, Pioli destroyed him on his way off the field. He chewed him out.
Yeah, he didn't even look at each other. With reason.
And
right?
if the coach is chewing you out, then there is no argument. Nobody should be defending him, because if the coach is destroying him, then that's it. He was wrong, and that's a red card. Unfortunately, you put your team in a really bad spot. You took that chance to begin with, even if it's a yellow or not. You took that chance to begin with. You put your team in a bad spot with 15 minutes left, and you put your team in a bad spot for next week against a very important opponent. That now we have to worry about missing another guy. And we don't know who we're going to get back, and who's going to be out, and who's injured, and who's not 100%. That's a big game next week, and it's Saturday.
And look at Romagnoli, right? Romagnoli with a yellow. His yellow was maybe not as deserving to say, but anyways, the call was made. Now we have no center back. What are we going to put? Musacchio? I don't know what's going on with Gabbia. He's not going to be available. Kalulu's going to be there. We'll see. We'll see how it goes from there. But let's talk about the good in the game. Calabria, yes, maybe a couple of brain farts, but his brain farts never cost the team. He was always being backed up. But that pass to Ibrahimovic, right? Do you find that more of what a fantastic play, or was it a big brain fart on what's his name there, the Greek guy from Cali leaving?
Liko
Giannis. You have his name. All these people. Yeah, Liko Giannis. What do you think? Is it more his mistake, or I think your internet is a bit floppy there, Chicho, but it's okay.
Liko Giannis was horrible today, but that was an awesome pass from Calabria.
Reminded me of the Barella pass against Juventus there, almost the same kind of principle. And Ibra's doing exactly what he needed to do, right? And if he let him offside, and it wasn't even close. Like, we're not talking about a toe. He was a good foot. He kept him a foot onside, but what a play, right? And
yeah, and just like you said, he had the brain farts in the beginning of the game, and he made up for him right away. And for me, he was the man of the match. I know Ibrahimovic had 2 goals, But for me, Calabria was the man of the match. And I mentioned Giuseppe at the top of the show, one of our club members, and one of the more important people in our club who makes things run. He made a really good point. He's like, how do you argue against Calabria getting a shot at a starting spot at the Euros this summer?
You definitely can't argue that. And we were surprised by Calabria when he came in substitute Conti back a couple of years ago. Then he took a dip. He wasn't up to his best, and now he's been look at the confidence with that. The post, that shot, that's a pure striker's move. I was really impressed. And another one that impressed me, and to Oscar, South Florida from Miami, Milan Club Montreal. He was mentioning Kalulu. Kalulu just seems to fit in just perfectly, right? So I don't know if it's his confidence level being next to Romagnoli, but how about your thoughts on Kalulu? I know you just had a little cameo in the game, but still very impressed so far.
Yeah, he's so solid, and he's just one of those players. He fits in the mold of the team. He gets called on to do something. He gets put in different positions. I would have never expected this from a guy with as little experience as Kalulu. I definitely did not expect him to be that solid. And you mentioned Musacchio and Gabbia before. If I'm picking the starter for Saturday right now next to Kyer, it's Kalulu right now. I don't know what Tomori's deal is going to be for Saturday, if he's going to be with the squad or whatever. But for me, Kalulu, he does the simple things correctly. He doesn't get into his own head. He doesn't try to do too much. He doesn't try to be a player that he's not. I love players like that just play within themselves, and good things come out of it.
I love the Ibra quote there during the week that he said to Kalulu he was going to go on the pitch for the first time, and he told him off. He's like, "Well, you're wearing gloves. You only have you don't have a second chance to a first impression. Get rid of those gloves. You ain't going to scare anybody." Love those little nitbits. But I think at this point, if we're going to get into the mercato talk with that Chelsea kid, but honestly, Frank, if we're stuck, I wouldn't even make this player start, because you're playing against Atalanta. I would see Kessie playing center back at this point, right? Because he's done it already. I would put Kessie and Kalulu over there. If we're stuck, Kier says, it's just precautionary, took him out, but just in case, would you start that? What's his name, Tomori?
If would I start Tomori if Kyer couldn't play? Yes. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, because I'm not gonna put Kessie. Because then what? It's Tonali and who? Mate, that's hard. And I know Atalanta's not playing well right now. We'll talk about that after too. But
you want to put Kalulu? You want to put Kalulu and a brand new player that never played in the system, doesn't understand the language, against Atalanta?
That's fair.
That's fair. That's the way I sing. And yes, Mete played good. I for what I've seen, so what we see, guys. It could be. Sometimes a player just needs a different environment. I didn't like the comments I came to Milan for the Scudetto. I think that was a bit too much. But the way he showed his confidence on the ball, hey, you know what? If he can bring us that from now on, what did you think about Mete's performance today?
Listen, guys. I don't want to get too excited. What did he play? Half hour today?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this: in that half hour, he played much better than Krunic ever did this season, and that made me feel a lot better about that position and having a sub there who played well today. 2 weeks down the line, we could be cursing him out, and he's a complete dud. But today, he did his job and he did well. He was motivated, so hopefully that motivation doesn't wear off, and the people around him keep him up.
Definitely. So I just felt at one point in the game, Frank, maybe it's just me, I felt that these last couple of games against these Cagliari teams, it seems that we take off our foot off the pedal at certain points, and it hasn't hurt us yet. Now, I'm not saying we take our foot off the pedal against the Juves of the world, the Inters, the Romas, anything like that. But it seems like these little teams, so far, it hasn't bit us in the ass. But do you realize this, that maybe we're not 100% going full fledged at 2-0, or is it just me imagining stuff?
Not even at 2-0. After the penalty, right after the penalty, I didn't think Milan was very good. I was surprised with Di Francesco and how he coached his team today, because you have two guys up top that are very good players. Joao Pedro and Simeone are very good. And unfortunately, they weren't, for Cagliari at least, they weren't very much of a threat. I was very surprised that even though Milan let up a little bit after that 1-0, Cagliari didn't really take advantage. Granted, they were missing two very important midfielders. Nandes was disqualified and Rog is out for the season, and it doesn't seem like they have the depth for it. So that's probably the answer as to why they were so bad today.
Yeah.
But, a different team, you go up 1-0 on a different team, not even, like you said, Juve or Inter, but if you're talking about a team like, I don't know, Sassuolo or, like one of those, 6th, 7th place team, Sampdoria, who's playing pretty well right now, those teams might punish you. And so today, they dodged a bullet, but, and then like we said, they dodged the bullet with the non-call penalty on Diaz and stuff. That could have changed the game. We went 10 men, a penalty that wasn't called.
They got 10 minutes left. You never know. It takes all of a sudden they start believing, and that's what these teams used to do back in the day. They believed, it's a Milan, we can go beat them. So we've taken chances, no consequences yet, but this is not a trend that we need to get into. Looking at whoever played good, but how about Hulk Hauge? We were high on him when we first saw him play. Like these cameo appearances coming off from the bench. We liked what we saw, and people shut on Steve. You keep on saying it's not the Europa League. Get used to Serie A. People can shit on Steve all they want, but Steve has a point, right? I would go more thinking. I don't think he was ready to be a starter. I think he was just put into a situation where, hey, I need you to start, right? Nothing against the kid. I don't think it's a kid that we should give up on, but he hasn't impressed. I know he had I know Ibra gave him the stare of death a couple of times in the game, but I don't think you're the type of guy that's going to start giving up on a kid like this, Franco, to Hulk Hauge.
This is not the Europa League, and this is not the Norwegian League. Okay?
I like it.
And the one pass that I'll give him, and I've seen this on Twitter over the last couple of days, the guy has been playing since February, because the Norwegian League goes through the summer. This guy has not had a break. Mm-hmm. But, he's not used to Serie A, and this is not Europa League, and this is not the Norwegian League. If you're called to, if you have to answer the call, you have to answer the call. And if you're not playing well, you're going to come off. And he's lucky that Salmakers did even worse when he came on for him, because now he's going to find himself on the field again. And the only good thing about all of the injuries and stuff, like if we had a full squad and we didn't have the injuries and the COVID and all the other stuff that has half of our squad out, this guy would not be seeing the field right now. So the only positive for him is that he keeps getting experience. He got experience today against, very mediocre Cagliari side. I don't think he's bad. He's just a step off. And he's not up to speed right now for Serie A. He's just a dot too slow. You watch him, and he's just his reaction time or his decision making is just really just a step off for where Milan is at right now. If Milan was 10th place Milan from 2015, maybe he'd be one of our main players. He puts himself in good spots. He's just not there right now.
Just not there.
If somebody comes back, or if Leao is there, Rebic are there, where's Hau going to play? He's not even going to be the sub if Leao and Rebic are there with Mandzukic and Ibrahimovic. So, hopefully he takes these experiences as learning experiences, and he does find his role in this team. But as of right now, and on the depth chart with a full roster, he's not that good. We got our heads blown up a little bit because he scored those couple of goals. I think he scored against Napoli, and he scored.
Yeah. But always off the bench. Always off the bench, right? Or I think one of the Europa Leagues he was starting, but
right.
In the end, a lot of the guys are saying, give him some more time. But it's not with this starting lineup that you're going to go face those big teams and say, yes, the mentality is there, guys. But again, we keep on saying reaching a certain standard is one thing, maintaining that standard is completely different. But so far, even Diaz today, right, coming into that role. I think did a lot more good than bad. I just felt that he seemed predictable at one point, where he gets the ball, sees that open space, and it's let's run as fast as we can and try to feed Ibra. I just felt that he needed to change a little bit. I don't know what your thoughts are on Diaz, especially on today's game.
Yeah, I would say first half he was awesome, and then they figured him out. But what I do like about Brahim Diaz is that he does what you just said. He carries the ball, he takes the space, he goes straight at a defender, and quite honestly, I think sometimes in Serie A, not enough players do that. And I thought he was very good at showing defenders who's the boss. He's going to go straight at him. He doesn't care. He's not afraid of anybody. And in a game like today, and against an opponent like today, you miss Çalhanoğlu, but against an opponent like today, you don't miss him because you have the depth.
Yeah.
With Brahim Diaz. Like, when was the last time Milan had two reliable fantasisti that could fill this role and answer the call at any point in time?
A very long time ago.
Two. I'm not even talking about one. We were starving for one for the last 10 years. Okay. And now we have two that can play at a pretty high level, at a very high level. And he proved it today. Like you said, more in the first half, they kind of figured him out. So maybe he's a little bit of a static player. He needs to be a little more dynamic, but I thought he was very good. Milan has not had that for a long time. He's high intensity, he's high skill, he's high intelligence to a certain extent. Maybe you'll argue that, but he created those plays. He created the through ball for the penalty shot, and he was very good for the remainder of the game.
So we'll see if we could keep that up, especially, and they're still on a dry loan, right? Maybe right to buy. I know one of the questions refers to that, so we're going to get Facebook Frank. He has to correct us. Yeah, 2006, so it's been 15 years, Rui Costa and Kaká. Before we get into this mercato thing, let's take a look at the other scores, Franco, because obviously we're going to talk about Sunday's game, 2:45. La Juve fa paura. L'Inter, our friend Nima. No, you guys, you think we're gonna win? With Vidal on the pitch, and you guys are out of your minds. And I think he was playing the reverse psychology. And did Juve show up to this game?
They did not. And I will point the finger straight at their coach on this one. How do you have a roster like that? You literally have the best player in the world in the biggest game of the season, basically, up until this point, besides the Milan game, and you literally laid an egg. Ronaldo's been invisible. Even on the Milan game, even though they won, Ronaldo was not good in the Milan game. He was not good yesterday. Their roster is just confused. The guys on the field don't know what to do. Their midfield isn't as good as they think it is. You have guys out there like Rabiot and Bentancur who some days show up, some days they don't. A guy like Chiesa against Milan shows up. That's a team that's very confusing. And then the back line, forget it. That back line is well past their prime. Bonucci is one of the biggest jokes in Serie A right now. I'll say it, and I don't care what Juve fan is watching, and they can come after me, and they could tweet me, and they can do whatever they want.
No, I think the real Juventus fans will admit that as well. And like my real Juventini friends, the good ones, they still don't accept the fact that he came to us and then went back over there. So, but no, it's like even Ronaldo couldn't take a shot from inside the box. Always trying these long shots, and I just felt that. If they're not letting you penetrate and you're still trying to do everything by yourself, but you were saying Rabiot, Bentancur is like, I don't know. It seems like, but obviously they only show up to play against Milan, the mighty Milan, right? So they got to come up and they celebrated like they won the Champions League. But I love how everybody was trolling Pirlo, saying that, questa la dobbiamo giocare come una finale dei Champions. And everybody's, yeah, you definitely played it like a Champions League finals. You lost. But Inter, I'm sure that Conte and his hairpiece were, they didn't come out too much, happy. But I'm sure behind closed doors, he was telling them to go fuck themselves, and that's it. And but in the end, Inter was the far superior team. And like you're saying, Lukaku was a beast, but Lukaku didn't score. But look at the guys they showed up, right? And a fully merited win by Inter, probably their best game all season. And Juventus, it's like. Juventus, like, you need to shape up, because if you continue like this, you ain't gonna finish in the top 5.
Lukaku's a good player, guys.
He's a monster. Okay. Guys.
He's a good guy. He didn't even score yesterday, and he was still the best player on the field for Inter, and that's scary, man. Like, he's just a monster, and they have the upper hand. Okay, we could be all excited and we can be riding buses here and there, but they have the upper hand. We're still in 3 competitions. They're in 2, but. Really, we're if we're talking about Europe and stuff, they don't have to worry about Champions League anymore, and they can focus on Serie A, and that showed yesterday. They focused on that game, and all of their players answered the call. Barella, I hate the fact that this guy's on Inter, because he's probably the best Italian player right now.
Yeah, he was fantastic yesterday, and just like Vidal scoring Vidal scoring on his old team. It was just written in the stars. But in the end, we would have preferred a tie, right, for points wise. But we're still 3 points ahead. We'll see what we come up in the next couple of weeks. But other than
I'll tell
that,
you this: I
yeah.
don't mind the Inter win. I would, if I had to pick a winner. Obviously, we preferred the tie yesterday between these two guys. If I had to pick the winner, I would have picked Inter. Only this way, Juventus wouldn't have gained momentum. So this still keeps them down. This still has them scratching their heads. It still has them doubting themselves. So at least if we could just worry about Inter and not, worry a little less about Juventus, still we're 10 points ahead of them. Give me that, because we're just keeping pace with Inter. We just have to keep pace and do our own job.
Very true on that one. There was the Friday game, Lazio Roma. I was not expecting this score whatsoever. I believe it was 2-0 after the first half, if I'm not mistaken. And Roma, they went through, they were going through a good streak. I think this was an important game for them to show up, to at least show a fight, but they did not show any fight whatsoever. Lazio, you got the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This one was a Dr. Jekyll. It wasn't the Mr. Hyde, but a fully merited win for Lazio, and they needed those points, right, Franco?
Yeah, they needed those points to stay in the European race, and now it's there's 7 teams that can make Champions League. I think Pioli was one talking about that in his post-game interview today. Is that he's like, there's 7 teams, and any of those teams can finish top 4, and the 3 that don't are going to be very disappointed. Yeah, like you said, weird. Both of these teams are so much like each other. It's weird. I would say the only thing that's different is that Lazio is the better coached team. As much as I don't like Simone Inzaghi, I don't like Roma's coach any more than him. Mm-hmm. I think he's very overrated, and this game showed it. You did not prepare your team, and I feel bad for a guy like Edin Dzeko, who has to be on this team and deal with losses like this every single season. And this guy is wasting his career on a team that can't get their act together, and it's pathetic. I have a very big dislike for Roma, and the people who know me are probably giggling right now. I spent some time in that city, and I actually have a bigger hatred for Roma fans than I do for Lazio fans, just because they're so delusional. And so watching them lose, I don't even mind. And it worked out for Milan. So there you go.
There we go. Il maestro gets sacked after a lackluster 0-0 tie against Spezia. So guys, you're playing Spezia. You're one man up, 7 minutes into the game. Can manage to, I feel bad for Belotti, but Giampaolo, good riddance from Torino. And I think this guy was, and we some of us fell to the trap, right? Franco, if we had to listen to the Sakis back then, even Tommy Time, Giampaolo is no maestro, and he's going to do this, La Serie B did this. And
I fell into the trap.
Yeah, we all did.
I fell into the trap. I was excited about him, and I thought it was going to work out and stuff. We saw them in person that summer, and we were very excited. And obviously that didn't work out for Milan. I'm surprised he made it this far. Torino's been horrible,
very, very bad. Very
and in this game, if he didn't get fired after this game, you were up a man for 84 minutes.
Where they at Torino? Oh my God, Torino's in the relegation, guys.
Yeah, they're in the relegation zone.
Jesus Christ.
You were up a man. Okay, the ref gave you a gift. He gave the Spezia a red card in the whatever it was, 6th minute, and you couldn't put this game away with Belotti up top. You have Belotti, you have Verdi. It's not like they even have a bad team, but you have a guy like Verdi who's underperforming. You got a guy like Goyak on the bench, and every time he's been on the field, he's been awesome, and you still don't play him. That doesn't make sense. You deserve to get fired, and you don't deserve another job. And it's funny because I saw a rumor today that he might get hired as Poland's national team coach, but I don't know how.
Torino fans, we definitely feel your pain, and I think that Cairo had to pull the trigger now because if they would have kept on losing, it would have been bad. So yeah, Torino. Hopefully, I don't know what they're going to get as a coach. Sampdoria, right? I don't know if you were able to watch a bit of that game there. Came back, I think they came back from behind, if I'm not mistaken, winning 2-1. Ranieri, doing so anything to add to this game here until we get to the touchdown of Napoli versus Fiorentina.
Yeah, I didn't really watch this game, but that's just an example of a well-coached team. Sampdoria, has a middle-range roster, and they're doing what they can with that roster, and that's because of a good coach.
Exactly. Napoli, I think I turned it off in the 30th minute, guys. 6-0 against Fiorentina. Fiorentina is just bad, guys. They're just like horrible. And yes, you could go out and beat Juventus, but somebody had mentioned, oh, imagine if Rocco Commisso would have bought Milan. Imagine what kind of team. You can't really compare because I don't think he really invested inside the team. Who knows what would have happened, but he's quite the character. No, I wouldn't take him. He's veramente no paesano from my parts of Calabria, but Fiorentina, you know what? Did you see this game, Franco?
Yeah, unfortunately I did, and unfortunately I have Fiorentina's goalie on my Fantacalcio team. And just going back to Rocco, like thank God he didn't buy Milan, and it's a shame. I still have a lot of respect for the guy for what he's accomplished in his life. I actually known who he is for a very long time, and he is like the example of somebody who came to the United States with nothing and made a real name for himself, and he's an intelligent guy and Columbia University graduate. They named their soccer field after him and all that kind of stuff. But I've seen what he's done on the sports side, both for Fiorentina and for the New York Cosmos, of which I am a fan, who are on life support again. And I just don't think that this field of work is for him. And the results of both of his teams are showing, and it's a shame. So I think Rocco should save face and probably leave soccer. And leave it to people who know what they're doing. That's a horrible game, and as a neutral, especially, like that's a horrible game. Like like you said, in the 30th minute, you shut it off because it was almost 4-0 already at the end of the first half. Like that's
at the end of the first half, it was like 4-0. Like it was 3. Like you see the first goal, okay, so and it's like 3-0. I'm like, and they just completely gave up, right? So no interest in watching this game. But Napoli still chipping away there at points. You had, Crotone, Benevento, nothing concerning us in the top 7 teams. Sassuolo, Parma, 1-1. Sassuolo at 1 point. Oh, guys, look at Sassuolo. They're playing so good. And Sassuolo, if we take a look where they're at, I don't know if you take a look at that game there of Sassuolo.
They weren't very good in that game. They were actually very fortunate to come out with a tie. They tied it right at the end because Parma blew it. Like, that's another team that's just probably not as well coached as they should be. I don't think Liverani is a very good coach at all. And Parma should have put that game away. They had the game in hand for the entire game, and they gave up a goal in the 91st or 92nd minute or something. And Sassuolo was able to steal a tie. That was pathetic. Like, Parma should be winning that game.
And then he wasn't dancing too much on this game, Gasparini, right?
No.
Against Genoa, they didn't score 7 goals. Atalanta didn't score 5 goals in this game. 0-0, right? I'm not saying that they're going through a dip, right? But Atalanta, nothing to write home about in this game here. One of these, you think there was just like a little hiccup? Because they haven't played fantastic in the last couple of games, if I'm not mistaken. Or this was their first one that they didn't get the 3 points?
No, it was just like the first one that didn't get 3 points. Okay, first of all, credit to Genoa because they actually played really well in this game, and they really made Atalanta work. Like, so Atalanta couldn't just do their game plan. The last couple of games, Atalanta was actually playing pretty well, and people were starting to stroke them again and this and that. And look, even without Papu Gomez, they can still do it. And, like they have those defenders that, those wing backs that always go up and they always end up scoring and stuff. Those guys were non-existent in this game. I would actually give the credit to Genoa for preparing the game really well. But, Atalanta has a lot of issues that, people were very, very ready to get rid of in the last couple of games because they had performed well. And I think this game exposed it again. If I'm Milan, I'm not going to, get too hung up on that either way. You got to prepare for Saturday's game. It's a short turnover. All right. It's already Monday night. We just played today. And now on Saturday night, you got to play those guys. And it's a 12 o'clock, Eastern game. It's a 6 o'clock in Italy. So it's already early on Saturday. That's a very short turnover. You got to be ready for that game.
And we'll be back on here on Saturday at 11 o'clock with the Patreon, a little pregame chat that we've been doing recently. So stay tuned for the next content on the channel. I know some of the questions are going to talk about, the mercato, but I just wanted to take a quick, how about your impressions of Mandzukic? When you had first heard it, was it like, okay, one of these rumors, or you were like, I don't know if this could be possible. How did you take it, and are you happy about the signing?
I mean, I hate mercato madness. I think that's the one part where Steve and I probably don't see eye to eye. I hate the mercato. I'm a wake me up on February 4th type of guy. I love Mario Mandzukic. I've always liked him as a player, and he's a very clutch kind of guy. When I first saw the rumor, I was like, okay, it makes sense because he's not really playing right now, and he probably still could be playing. So it's one of those rumors that you could make up that could make sense, and it could find enough traction to sell papers. So to be quite honest, no, I didn't think it was possible. And the fact that
we lost you there, Franco. We lost your voice. Check that New York internet over there.
Hello.
We're back on there. So yeah, Mandzukic, you were saying one of these rumors, but
right.
In the end, are you? He's a game changer. Maybe not at the Ibra, but when he was playing here in Serie A, Juve relied on him for what, a couple of years? Was he there? As their main man. I think before Higuain. I think Higuain had replaced him, if I'm not mistaken, at that point.
But even at that point, even as a false nine, second striker, secondary guy, secondary forward, support striker, whatever the heck you want to call him, he answered the bell every single time. That guy scored in every single big game that they had. And if he could do that with us, I'll take it. I don't like the Juve leftovers. I'm very wary about that, and I hate the fact that he took the number 9. I hate that.
Speaking of number 9, I have a little surprise for you. So let's talk about this. And who cares if we go maybe over an hour? We like talking. Are you ready for this one here? So, guys, we're talking about the curse of the number 9s.
Oh boy!
All right. Guys, please pay attention to your television sets, your computer, your cell phone. La maledizione del numero 9. So let's start. Pato wasn't bad. Number 9. He was not fantastic, but he was not bad.
But he changed his number.
Yeah, from 7, he was 7, was he not?
Right.
And then went to number 9, and that's when with Barbara, and they were doing a Mishkatur over there, and we were supposed to sign Tevez. Well, let's not get into it. But then, gentlemen, we had Mattia Destro. Big signing. Il Condor went to pick him up nice for free. Fernando Torres. Then, you remember how we used to get excited about these players, Franco? Luis Adriano. From, where did we get him? For Shakhtar Donetsk? Or no, he was in Russia or something like that.
Yeah, one of those, yeah. I don't remember.
Giuseppe Lapadula. That we thought he was gonna. He did okay for us, but no, he wasn't gonna start. Andre Silva, Higuain, and Piontek. So is Mandzukic the guy? Yes, Larry, the debauchery of the number 9. Thank you for that fantastic word there. But my God, you think he could do it? Even though we keep him for 6 months, even if he scores 10 goals in 6 months, can we say that the curse of number 9? He's got to give us a year and a half, no?
Yeah, it's got to be more than a half a year because if everything's going well right now, so I'm not willing to get rid of that curse. Honestly, I would have preferred that they literally looked him in the face and said, "Pick something else." Yeah. It's just like you look at this list. How could it not be? I'm a very scaramantico. I'm very superstitious.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But
I really wish somebody looked at him and said, "Okay, you're a very big player. Okay, you're probably bigger than most of the people on that list that we just showed. Pick a different number." It's just horrible.
Yeah, seriously. So before we get into the questions, Franco, I have a very big question to ask of you, and it's concerning our friend David from Philadelphia. Now, David, you understand, he's left maybe a couple of months ago. Dentro l'autobus, right? He's driving the bus. The Scudetto Dream Bus. And he's asking everybody to come on up, and we discussed, me and Steve, that I had started walking towards the bus stop. I'm not even there. I'm very far. I'm walking. But you and Steve have been adamant. You're sitting your asses. Even Youssef today, our friend, saying, "No, man, I'm sitting my ass on my couch because I'm not ready to." And David wanted to know, right? Because now there's, it's an all-inclusive. It's an all-inclusive bus. You get the drinks are included, 3 meals a day. Dave's gonna take you out every 2 hours. We go, we stretch our legs. He's gonna give you the tour. There's gonna be videos being played. So he just wants to know, right? You still don't want to come on the bus yet?
No. Today after the game. Am I here?
Yeah.
Okay. So today after the game, Pioli rattled off the schedule for the next month, off the top of his head. He rattled off every Serie A game, Coppa Italia, and all that kind of stuff. We play Inter again in Serie A in about a month's time. I wasn't looking at the schedule, but if we win that game against Inter, I'll stick my head out the window and see if the bus is coming.
Okay, hold on. This is breaking news. And yes, Angie, First Lady, free manscaping as well with promo code MWP, 20% off free delivery. So let me repeat. Now you're on video, you're on record. If we win, repeat that, please, so we could write it down from there. David and Angie are there listening. Please repeat word for word.
Don't get excited. I didn't put my shoes on yet. I said, if we win the Derby, the one in Serie A, in a month's time or whatever it is,
yeah,
I will check the schedule. I will check the bus schedule, and I will stick my head out the window to see if it's coming.
Guys, it's a start. It's a start. We'll see. I'm gonna ask Steve next week if he feels the even Facebook Frank is with you. So we're gonna check the bus schedule. We'll see when that the Derby comes along. Let's take it over to Patreon questions. First, coming from Anwar, one of our brand new patrons directly, saying one of our friends from Morocco. I got a question from last time, guys. Good evening. What do you think of selling Romagnoli to Chelsea or another club for like 40 million? I'll definitely go for a Kabak, Milankovic, or any other target like Sanchez from Spurs. I don't think Romagnoli will get any better at his actual level, and even if he did, it will be a small margin. He does not tackle at all. Confidence looks very shaky. Many individual mistakes, very slow, not reactive as much as we need him to be. I saw him suffer against every good striker, against Lukaku, Martinez, Dzeko, Mitrovic, Dybala, Chiesa, Gervinho, and others I forgot to mention. I would offer Ramos a contract of 2 years and sign Milankovic too, or any other young talents with some real strong capabilities, but also smart and confident. I love the guy and was always on his side, but when he was criticized, especially knowing that he had joined us in our banter era, but I don't see the great player in him nor the leader. What do you guys think? Forza Milan. This is, more, obviously this is his opinion. I like the way he wrote it down from over there, but what I kept from there, 40 million, Franco. If somebody offers you 40 million for a guy like Romagnoli, do you not run to the bank?
Yeah, I'm probably going to sell him for 40 million. I really like the way he set up the question, because he didn't just say, it wasn't like a Fantacalcio type of, BS rumor idea. Like he backed it up with real thought.
Yeah.
I agree with him. When I don't see Romagnoli getting any better than he currently is. My only concern is the price has to be right. I'm not just going to sell him just to sell him and go out and get Milankovic from Fiorentina and hope that he plays good for Milan, because he might not. That you're talking about a different level. La maglia pesa, and it's true. Like this shirt weighs heavier than a Fiorentina shirt, with all due respect to Fiorentina and their history and their city and all that kind of stuff. So I like Milankovic. I think he's a good player. Does that mean that he's going to come here and be better than Romagnoli? Oh, I don't know. So it's like a yes and no question. Yes, I'll take freaking 40 million and figure it out. The only thing is that he fits in the organico of the team. He fits in the team mode. In the end, he's still the captain.
Still the captain.
Whether or not he should be the captain, and the Gigio should be the captain, and all that kind of stuff. That's a conversation for a different day.
But at 40 million, it's not even a discussion, because you know what, guys, we keep on saying, yes, guys of our generation, we try to think with our hearts, but this is a business now. And yes, he signed in the worst possible time of Milan, with the Young Hong Lee, stuff like that, and he's made, yes, we'll pick out the mistakes, but he's been there. I don't think he's the most outspoken person. He doesn't talk a lot, but at 40 million, I'm sorry, guys, at 40 million, you wrap him up, and sorry, Alessio, and we got to do what we got to do. But I think we both agree on that one at 40 million. And thank you, Anwar, for at least questioning and not just saying he sucks. Would you sell him for 40 million? Dave, go ahead.
I'm just going to add one more thing to that, because you got to remember that, Kyer is good right now, but he's only going to get older. So you have to figure that out as well.
Franco, if you're going to be replacing Steve,
Kajar.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Kajar's not getting any. Kajar's not getting any any younger, right? So definitely on that one there at 40 million, Anwar. I think I like it. Let's take a look at David's question. This is Montreal, David. Good evening, my beautiful Milanisti. With Real Madrid having to offload a lot of talent to make way for a major signing in Mbappe, Pogba, etc., Players like Jovic, Diaz, Marcelo Isco, and Ceballos are available. Should Milan make the move to make the Diaz loan permanent, especially with the performance from today's match, and also probably get him on the cheaper side since Real are looking to raise funds ASAP? And also maybe bring in Marcelo since Dalot isn't ready, and they're really the best option on the left when Tio is out of action. Forza Milan. Do you believe in this whole like that? They need to offload some things. Probably going to get, it's Real Madrid, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't think just a performance is going to convince me to pay $25 to $30 million on a Diaz kind of player, right? Especially I was watching him today. He's been here from the beginning, right? Watching him today on Sky, and he was still speaking Spanish. So I could just the comprehension of the language. I'm not saying that he's not communicating with the team, but if you're still speaking Spanish, you're not forcing yourself to speak Italian. So again, I think I will need to see a consistency of this player. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. Give me 10 more games like you did in the first half today, then maybe we'll talk about it. I'm a big proponent of that language learning thing too. I mean, you saw a guy like Andre Silva who had a very hard time adapting and had a very hard time playing well for this team, and he didn't learn the language. You have a guy like Leao that went out and learned the language, and he's playing well. Like those are like, people don't take a lot of weight into that, but I do. And so that's number one. Number two, his Instagram profile still says that he's a player for Real Madrid and AC Milan on loan, and that bothers the frick out of me. Some people say
you may swear. You may swear.
Yes, I know. it bothers me a lot. People say it shouldn't bother you, whatever. He's playing for the team now. He's playing well. No, it bothers me. You're a Milan player. Okay. I don't care if you're here on loan. Nobody else does that. Nobody in the world has ever done that. You're a Milan player. Don't put freaking parentheses and you're a Real Madrid player and then Milan is below it. So that's number two. The other issue with that question is if Real Madrid is really looking to offload him, and let's just say that the bus arrives later this year. Let's just say. Real Madrid's going to be like, yeah, hypothetically speaking, Real Madrid's going to say, oh, look, our guy helped you win the Scudetto for the first time in 10 years. Pay up. That's not going to be cheap. That's not going to be cheap.
No.
Real Madrid's going to say, okay, we'll take him back, or we'll go sell him to freaking Wolverhampton, who overpays any friggin', Premier League team that overpays for any guy who does well for 6 months. All of a sudden, that's not going to be cheap. If he does well and we do well, that's not going to be cheap, and that's going to be the problem. I have difficulty seeing Milan holding on to this guy unless he really blows up and he becomes Çalhanoğlu's replacement.
Yeah, we'll see from over there. And they're doing Dalot. Dalot is just a great sub. I don't think he's a starter. But guys, remember Dalot, like they were very adamant, Manchester United, that it's a dry loan. He's going back to Manchester United. There's not even an option to buy. And right now, so far, what I've seen, he's a good sub, right? So I don't know if I would invest money into him, all depending of the players that we're gonna keep from there. Love these questions, guys. Erzving, can we really say that there's no bias to see us go down when against Inter, Vidal should have been off? Also against Juve, Bentancur should have been seeing the second yellow, but Alexis goes off for a lot less that we've seen. Erzving, you know what? We spoke about those 2 yellows. We still felt that were merited, but again, this is Serie A. It's unfortunate we can never get what's the real rules about this stuff. But again, we could always flip that coin and go, hey, you know what? They not just maybe today there was a couple of dubious calls, that could have went against us, penalties not given. But for me, I just see it as a refreshing change that we never got those calls go in our favor. So I get you what you're saying there. Gillis, salad maker, was tossing salad out there today. Gillis, I'm not sure he's tossing salad. I know it's PG from there, but how soon can Milan sell him? And goes, I'm kidding. Real questions. With all the injuries and COVID, and with Mete now signed, what is the most crucial signing Milan position-wise can make this window? So what do you think position-wise would be our best? Who should we be going to get?
Besides the ones that we've already locked up, I think, we've done pretty well. If both of these guys end up signing, everything goes well, nobody fails in medical, and everybody's teeth are good. There's a little callback for there.
What was his name? Sissoko,
right?
Sissoko with the best.
So, I mean, I think Tomori is the most important signing. So we have him already. But the most important signing we are about.
I get it, but how many games have we seen? Okay, now we're injured, whatever. How many games have we seen Hulk Hauge and Castillejo on the wings Don't you think we need a winger? Yeah, it's easy to say, yeah, but everybody's gonna get back. But look how many. I think maybe I'm not saying go invest in a premium starting winger, right? But I don't know. Rebic is gonna do the left. If then Leao is gonna be on the right. But what if Ibra gets hurt? Okay, we have Mandzukic, but Mandzukic. I don't know. Are you good with these 3 signings?
Yes.
Thauvin from Marseille. I know somebody had asked before, but Jamie's asking again. Thauvin, would you? Supposedly, he was told to go find himself a team.
If you give me Thauvin, yeah. But if the mercato ends and it's these 3 signings, I'm not going to cry. I mean, look at the rest of Serie A. Look at the global economy right now. We're lucky.
Yeah.
We're lucky we went out and got 3 guys in the middle of COVID, where other teams are bleeding and they don't even know how to. Friggin' Inter can't even pay for Hakimi. That a guy that they already bought, and Real Madrid is claiming that they haven't even paid for him yet, and Inter's worried about all this stuff, and we're able to make 3 signings. So you gotta take it into context and of the times. We're very lucky that we made these or we're about to make these signings. I don't want to put a jinx on anything, because some of them still have to come, but. We're lucky. No, if the mercato ends and we have these 3 guys, we went out and did what we could.
I like the way you put it. Exactly. We did what we could.
Give me Thauvin, that's bonus, man. That's insane.
Sure. We'll take the bonuses, like the Robinho bonus after the Ibra signing back in the day with El Condor. Fabio is asking us, about if we would sign a right wing, seeing that we just discussed that, but he's saying it. And if we win against Atalanta, should Pioli do a little dance on the sidelines? Forza Milan. I would say no, because if we do, we stoop to his level. I think he should just give him the look and go, what, that one was for you, buddy. And then dance La Tarantella when nobody's watching. But we got this game, right? We got him. But the Gasparini, that fucking dancing. Come play again your Champions League game in our stadium. Last question, Greg on Patreon. First it was Fofana, then Simakan. If we're serious about contending in Europe, we have to be able to get our first targets and not lose them to mid-tier teams. A Chelsea castaway is our defensive reinforcement for Scudetto race. Although we will be happy with 4th place, the fact is that we have a real chance to win the Scudetto, so we have to invest to grab the opportunity because it is not given. We can replicate this perfect storm next year. What Greg is saying here, I'm going to pull up something, and it's basically something that really got to me because, and Greg, I respect your opinion, right? Saying the Fofana, the Simakan. I know we spoke about Fofana, but it's like, what salary did they give him over there? Simakan, okay, he got hurt. Would you go invest in a player that, But I want to show you this. Guys, I want you to pay attention. Whoever's just going to listen, I'm going to try to name it off from over here, but here we go. So if you guys can see, preso Teo Hernandez, ma chi è?
Yep.
Preso Benacer, ma è un pippone retrosceno, right? So it's a guy that the guy's going, he's going back to Serie B. Rebic è un scarto della Fiorentina, somebody the Fiorentina didn't want. Preso Stefano Pioli, within a week, Pioli out. And even this guy always, even us would put it. Presso Simon Kier, Caldare all'Atalanta per un loro panchinare, right? So we gave up Caldare for one of their bench warmers. Ibrahimovic, he's 40 years old. He was MLS. He's finished. Salad maker. Again, where are we going with these people? Kalulu, who? Hauge, ma who are these? Presso Mete. And he says, in the end, the only thing that we had to understand is trust in Maldini. So I get where you're coming from, Greg. I totally get you. But so far, I'm not saying that they were all home runs, but since the Maldini era came on, which players have we gotten that, okay, maybe Krunic, but Krunic has done his job, right? We weren't expecting Krunic to start scoring, 3 goals a game, but again, with these salaries, but so far we got to trust if they got this guy from Chelsea. And, Steve liked to say, too, is like, you guys just want to give us these players in loan? Sure, come on. We'll take everybody, right? And in the end, let them decide if they want to stay. And trust me, if these players really want to stay, they'll find the deal somewhere. Because if Chelsea goes, no, we're not giving, and me saying, I want to stay here, they'll find the deal because they don't want a player that's unhappy.
You're talking about Chelsea,
yeah,
Real Madrid. We're talking about the upper echelon of world soccer. If a guy is riding the bench on one of the best teams in the world, chances are it's probably going to be good. Like Teo Hernandez, like stuff like that. This is obviously a strategy that works. Okay, if a guy's not playing for a top club, he's still good enough to be on that roster. Okay. And even if he's, number 13 out of 16 on the depth chart, that's very good. This strategy works. Okay. Benacer is like an outlier there because, his team got relegated, but he was familiar with the league, and it was blatantly obvious how good this guy could be. African Player of the Year, led Algeria in a tournament, and it was blatantly obvious that he had the ability. How good, like you said, we didn't get these guys to be starters and be, first team strikers, Hauge, Krunic and Mete, even Mete today. If he plays like that every game and just comes on as sub, God bless him.
Exactly. Just the
strategy is working.
It's working so far, so let's continue with that, right? And in the end, Hauge, they were saying maybe about a month ago that his value is at least at 25 million, what we had seen before. So, hey, if we're making money, and again, we're saying, yes, we look at these players and what they perform, but what did we buy them for, right? So we'll see. In Maldini, we trust, and in Padre Pioli. Taking it over to Twitter, Hauge's headband at Sempre Milanisti saying, is Steve finally on the Scudetto bandwagon, seeing as we will be at least tied for first half the season played with all the adversity we have faced? I feel like once we have the whole team back, our confidence will be through the roof. Hauge,
Steve's not here, and the answer is still no.
I think Steve would probably say the exact same thing. Probably not in a negative way, but maybe would have said what Franco was saying is like, you know what, I'll pop my head up. We'll see. Maybe I'll pop my head up, but I'm not getting off the couch so far. James Fricano saying, why the hell is Hauge playing on the left if he can't use his left foot? Okay, rant over. Great win today, Forza Milan. I guess because we had no choice, right, Franco? Right. Basically, we had the Suso that only had a left foot. And we have another one, but he's just completely. We just got to use both feet there, boys. But again, Hauge, I'm not gonna shit on him because he was put in a position, as we were discussing before, not a position that he's used to. Massimo, not a question, but missing half our team and we're still winning games. They need to give Roma yellow to miss the Atalanta game because we're too strong. Terrible game by a ref. Forza Milan. Massimo is one of the guys there on the group chat there, and he was like, finding it that it was going more, calories away, but. The way I looked at it, Presidente likes his 50-50 calls, right? His 50-50 booking, as we were saying, wrestling. He's like, they got to balance it out. But Massimo, for me, we did speak about the Romagnoli. I just felt that, yes, it was harsh, but it's not like it's the last time and not the first nor last time we've seen plays like that get a yellow, right, Franco?
Yeah, my answer to that comment is the one consistency is that Serie A refs are inconsistent. And the one consistency is that they're going to suck, and you're not going to be able to rely on them ever.
Gigi Lapatat's asking, hypothetically speaking, if you were tasked to change Milan's name for X reason, what would it be? I guess he's. Did you see that new logo of Inter? They want to be the new Juventus.
I have a really hard time with changing tradition. I have a really hard time with minimalizing logos and changing the stripes on jerseys. Okay, even the preview and the rumored Milan jersey for next year is already has my blood boiling. Okay, so to answer Gigi's question, I'm not going to answer the question because I'm not changing the name of this team.
Okay? I am. No, he said we have to for X reasons. I have it. Milan AC. There, I changed it.
Beautiful, love it.
See? So,
okay.
but
worst case, Milano. Okay, add the O back if you have to, like in the Mussolini days. That's as far as I'm going to go. And just going on the Inter thing, it's awful. It's an awful trend. I don't care about marketing. I don't care about what is the marketing trend and what gets 22-year-olds to buy jerseys. Okay, stop with the zigzags. Stop with the half and half jersey like Juventus came out with last year. Stop with the minimalist logo. Okay, how about this? Okay. How about soccer culture? Okay. And how about hiring people who know soccer? Look at Real Madrid. Look at, look at Manchester United. Look at Barcelona. Have those logos changed in the last couple of years? No. Okay. Has Real Madrid's jersey changed in the last couple of years? No. Okay. It's just a fad. It's just a trend. Okay. Do not follow what Juventus did. I think it's pathetic what Inter did today, and their fans should be embarrassed.
Exactly. And you know what? That's gonna get into my brioche that we're talking about this kind of stuff. Basically, ladies and gents, if you haven't heard it, my indigestion of the week. Jesus Christ, man. You know what? Let me see if I could pop it up here. The Montreal Impact decided that it was time for them to change their logo. Nobody fucking asked you. Nobody demanded this, right? But hey, let's go change the logo of the Montreal Impact to a fucking snowflake. Guys, what you're looking at right now is the Montreal Impact new logo. And it's not Club de Foot Montréal. That has got to be my indigestion of this week. Jesus Christ, guys, we're going to be the under a lot of fucking laughing stock. And some people were popping up on Twitter that there's so many companies that have the exact same logo as this. And who knows how much millions of dollars where, yes, the Montreal Snowflakes, definitely, like it just, Jesus Christ, man. That's my indigestion of the week. It's fuck you, Montreal Impact. And you know what? I stopped giving money to you 3 years ago when we were supposed to come and meet Pirlo. We had everybody from New York FC give us the time of day to come and meet him, and you didn't want us because you thought we were going to be a bunch of hooligans. Fuck you, Montreal Impact. Fuck your logo. And go fuck yourselves. You're never getting a single penny out of me. I'm going to go cheer on any other team, but Montreal Impact, manger un gros char de marde, if you didn't understand that. Yes. So, Franco, how about you? Indigestion of the week.
Indigestion of the week is the comments left on Theo Hernandez's girlfriend's Instagram after Theo tested positive for COVID because she was in Dubai last week, and she's posting pictures of herself in Dubai last week, and all of a sudden now Theo has COVID. Now, you know, my first thought when Theo and Çalhanoğlu got COVID were like, you know, should we be questioning players' choices and what they're doing in their personal lives, and are they putting their team in a bad spot because of, you know, all of a sudden they tested positive for COVID? You know, so I will go that far. I'll say, you know, like maybe perhaps that wasn't the best choice on their part, but you know, first of all, you don't know a person. You stop being keyboard warriors. People are writing the most nasty stuff to this girl and saying that Theo doesn't deserve to be on the team anymore because of her, and they should break up and she should die and this and that. Like, people just write stupid stuff. Like, you can't control that. Whether it was a good, you know, judgment call on their part and good judgment call on her part to go to Dubai and then come back and go straight back to her boyfriend, who's a multimillionaire soccer player. That's not, you can't control that, but
that doesn't give you the right to go shit on somebody's life, right? Yes, it's true. You know, you're posting stuff online, and you got to expect this kind of behavior. Just like us, you know, we'll have our few haters, which we enjoy because it's very entertaining. But even though they were wrong, doesn't give you the right to go shit on somebody's personal life, right? You don't know them, you don't know what happened, you don't know where he got it from, you know. So yeah, I like that one there. How about your feel-good moment of the week, Franco? What pepped your brioche of the week?
It's like a tie. I would say Ibrahimovic. So just Ibra being back, you know, comes back, scores 2 goals, takes the penalty. Even though I didn't want him to take that penalty, I think Frank Kessie should take every single penalty. He took it. He scored. The second goal was awesome. You know, he does little things on the field, you know, that little classic Ibra flick on, you know, later in the game, you know, he went all the way to the end line and headed the ball back into the box where like half the other guys would have just like given up on that play. This guy has saved Milan. Okay. If we finish top 4 in this season, Zlatan Ibrahimovic has saved Milan, and just having him back on the field today was such a difference. Even though we weathered the storm without him and we won, it's such a big difference when he's on the field. That's my brioche of the week.
I love it. I'm going to give an honorable mention to Salad Maker's haircut.
Or Mate's haircut.
It's so horrible. It's good, right? It's just the thank you guys for saying that you like it when I get mad. The impact of Montreal that deserving you to get mad. And yes, I'm not even drinking, guys. Day 13 of no beer whatsoever. I did have half a glass of wine this today, but that's the first alcohol I've had in 12 days, but no beer. I'm gonna go again with Ibra today. You sent me the YouTube link. I sent you because I watched him on Sky, and he gave this awesome little interview, guys. First starts off by asking the guy, "Oh, are you older than me?" You know, the journalist, and then he's like, he goes these kids they motivate, it's motivating with all these kids, and then in the end is like, "Tu Ibra ci crede a questo Milan," and he just answers, "Io credo a me," and he's like, "Well, how about the Scudetto?" io credo a Zlatan. He's just, I believe in me. That, and it's like, how can you get mad at this guy? This guy's awesome. It just to feel good, and you can see the excitement in his face that he's pulling jabs at these journalists, but he's doing it with fun. And you know what? You can't go wrong. Played the whole 90 minutes today. I don't know why he took off his shirt at the end of the game. I don't know who he had to give a shirt for. It's probably minus 10 degrees. Everybody's cold from whatever. But yeah, definitely on the definitely the Mo haircut for Salsiccia maker. Yeah, it just looks like the definitely the Mo haircut. But yeah, it's so good. It's so bad. It's good. But definitely we're on the same page on that one. Jamie's saying that he likes this Franco guy. Talks a lot of sense. That's why I went to get him, guys. And I think there was going to be yesterday's the conversation of Milan Club for Milan Club New York. I'm telling you, I think we were going to do like a 3-4 part miniseries. That's I know things we have to talk about. But on a side note, before we let go, it's been an hour and 10 minutes. Franco, representing Milan Club New York. I know you're going to be describing it there, but how can people? Do you have any pages people could follow you? Anything from me? Just go ahead and put yourself over.
Yeah, at AC Milan NYC across all social media, basically. Facebook as well, facebook.com/AC Milan NYC. If you need to get in touch with us directly, email acmilannyc@gmail.com.
And he wants to know, what are you drinking? I'm not beer. He's in New York. They drink sophisticated stuff.
No, this is just water.
Just the water.
I
yeah,
don't
but
drink.
what's in that?
No, I don't drink.
You don't drink. Guys, thank you so very much for joining us. I know it's been running along. Franco, thank you very much for the great conversation. I definitely, we're going to get you back on soon with, but you know what, if it's me, you and Steve, we're going to be no questions, because we're going to be talking for a long time. And you know what, I might, let me see if I could pop up this last picture, because I was thinking about you will have to be one of the guests on this one here. But if I can find it very quickly, I'm going to show you this, and I think it's going to be a fantastic conversation. And if I don't find it in the next 30 seconds, guys, but here we go. So here's what I wanted to do as a Patreon special, maybe a special like one of these days that we get the YouTube people on it. But let me go stop this screen, share the screen. I would like for us to talk about this, right? Would it be Rivera, Hulit, Savicevic, Boban, Rui Costa, Seedorf, and there's missing Hakan van Basten over here in the number 10s. No, but a conversation. Who are these? Like, obviously maybe not talk about Rivera because he wasn't there. But looking at these guys, the Hulits, the Savicevic, the Boban, the Rui Costa, Seedorf, a great conversation. I know you'll be able to talk for at least a good hour just on this topic. So. And I know you'll probably have like 15 pages of notes if ever we do go ahead with this one here. But that's just a little preview. Thank you
to tear down the wall for people at home, because Steve was making fun of me when we recorded Milanismo Worldwide. So there you go.
Guys, he's got the notes. He's got highlighted everything. He's calling me. I took it down these notes. What a prepare. Sempre pronto, Franco Z. Thank you so very much. Have yourself, everybody, a great night. Ovunque e sempre. Forza Milan. Now remember, we have to wait for the video. Okay, we have to put it in queue. Frank, if not, President is gonna tell me off. Ovunque sempre.
Forza Milan.
Ciao.